There is nothing quite like allowing any human, anywhere, to create value, to apply their labor, skills, and knowledge to resources and materials, transforming them into products and services that help society flourish. At the same time, nothing drives people to create valuable new products and services quite like the promise of being able to capture some of that value.
The wealth created through this sort of free market capitalism has been behind unimaginable increases in prosperity. Between 1990 and 2010 alone, 1 billion people were lifted out of extreme poverty as markets around the world gained more freedom.
Adam Smith encapsulated these ideas when he wrote that, quote, "It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard for their own interest." That seems natural enough, but for some those words are the smoking gun, proving that capitalism is a heartless economic system built not for the common good, but for greed. And who can blame people who think that way? The evidence appears to be all around us, and it came to a head in the 2008 financial crisis. We saw banks selling products that were risky at best and deceiving at worst. We saw accountants colluding with their clients instead of protecting the public. We saw regulators and other government agencies turning a blind eye to their actions until eventually the whole thing came down like a house of cards. Millions of innocent people lost their jobs, their houses, and even pensions and savings, while most of the perpetrators got off scot-free. Over the intervening years, we may have avoided economic Armageddon, but the crisis of 2008 exposed a much more serious problem, and that is the moral vacuum at the very heart of capitalism. We still have unprecedented levels of wealth inequality, a burgeoning and growing national debt, and ethical scandals at some of the largest and most widely known companies. So, are the bad and the ugly of capitalism the price we have to pay for the good of capitalism? Of course not. Capitalism is a subject, not an object. It has no agency of its own and no intrinsic moral compass to guide it. It's nothing more than the cumulative effect of countless individual and corporate economic decisions. And at the end of the day, every economic decision is a moral choice. When Adam Smith penned Wealth of Nations, he presumed that certain moral truths were self-evident. Today, however, without those moral truths to guide us, we've created postmodern capitalism. Capitalism which is devoid of a moral compass and resistant, if not impervious, to ethical constraint. So what's the solution? Some people would like to replace capitalism with a utopian solution like socialism.
But even Karl Marx knew that socialism can only work if it's enforced. And any enforced utopia is, by definition, a dystopia. Capitalism doesn't need to be replaced, it needs to be redeemed.
Every faith tradition in the world speaks directly into issues of economics. People of faith therefore have both a right and a responsibility to speak boldly into this space. If the capitalism we have is the capitalism we've chosen, its redemption rests on the choices we're yet to make. So, how do we make capitalism less capricious and more virtuous? That's a conversation we're having at universities and colleges all over the country. And we'd love to have you be part of that conversation.